Hey guys, what is going on? I hope you all are doing well today. Elliot here and welcome back to The Fragrance Well. So guys, today I'm going to be talking about fall fragrances that I think have a cozy element to them. When I say cozy, at least in my opinion, I think spicy, maybe a little bit of sweetness, an overall warming quality to the fragrance, but none of those facets of the fragrance stand out too much. It has to be a good balance. If it's too sweet, I don't find it to be cozy. If it's too spicy, it's the same thing, but I think they all have some element of that to some degree. That's the video topic for today. I got 8 fragrances today that I think are great for the fall and have a cozy element to them. And you know, a fragrance that has a cozy element, it means it has an alluring quality. It wants to reel people into it, particularly your lady, if you have one, or maybe you're trying to attract one. It's not gonna happen with just a fragrance, but you know, it could help. Before we get started, do not forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you do like this content, and remember to hit that bell icon so you can be notified when I upload new videos. Let's get into it. Okay, so first up on the cozy fall fragrances list from the house of Parfums de Marley, we have got Herod. Parfums de Marley's Herod. So this fragrance is a spicy and sweet tobacco fragrance. However, I think it is balanced enough to have a cozy element to it. It is primarily thought of as kind of being a very sexy fragrance, and I do think it has that quality. But I would say if you don't go too heavy on the sprays with this, and it's a situation where you want to have more of an alluring quality to your fragrance wear rather than it being kind of loud, I think this fragrance has those qualities to be cozy. Great blend of cinnamon, some vanillic notes. There's tobacco in here, like I stated before, and it is an ashy tobacco, but it's not too strong. All of those elements combine to it being a warm fragrance that has an alluring quality. Therefore, I think it can work as a cozy fall fragrance. Once again, from Parfums de Marley, we've got Herod. Next up, coming from the house of Guerlain, we have got L'Instant de Guerlain Eau de Parfum. L'Instant de Guerlain Eau de Parfum. There is an Eau de Toilette version, but I have not smelled that, so I cannot speak to that one. But this one is primarily, into my nose, a kind of spicy tea fragrance. Has some warming qualities to it though. There's some kind of chocolatey notes in here. There is patchouli. I think that kind of lends to that chocolatey nature. There's also cacao or is it cocoa or cacao? I think it's cocoa that's in this fragrance. So giving it kind of a chocolatiness to it. The chocolatey nature of this is not too strong. It's nice and balanced. There's not too much of a sweetness with this one, but there's still just enough of those elements all blending together to make it a cozy fragrance in my opinion. There is also quite a bit of spice in the opening of this fragrance in particular. There's some star anise in here. Could come across a little strong in the opening, but it does dial down and balance out. So I do think this is a great fragrance for the fall, and I do think it has cozy elements to it. Once again, from the house of Guerlain, we got L'Instant de Guerlain Eau de Parfum. All right, moving on, from the house of Dior, we've got Fahrenheit Parfum. Dior's Fahrenheit Parfum. Now, I almost did not put this one on this list. It does have the elements I mentioned earlier. It's got spicy accords to it. It has warm, sweet accords, but they're not too strong. And this one also has a nice booziness to it as well. But I thought it might be a little too much of that spiciness in here. But then I just kind of thought back to the last time I wore this and how I felt when I was picking it up on my skin, especially in the dry down. It did have this alluring quality. So I do think this can be a great fall cozy fragrance. You still have that violet leaf that's ties the Fahrenheit line together, so to speak. It does have some smoky accords in here. There is birch in here as well, but again, compared to the original Fahrenheit, that kind of petrol leatheriness that's in that fragrance is toned down quite a bit in this, and it's sweetened up, it's boozed up, and it's just balanced out and makes it a little bit more cozy of a fragrance and less loud, if you will. Awesome fall scent, definitely has a cozy quality to it in my opinion. Once again, from the house of Dior, this is Fahrenheit Parfum. All right, next up from the house of Nishane, we've got Papi Le Fico. Nishane's Papi Le Fico. This is another one I wasn't too sure about, but I sprayed this in the air a couple of times. But while I was compiling this list and just kind of smelled this one, I was like, oh yeah, it's got that quality. Primarily a spicy fragrance, also very balsamic, kind of has that resinous kind of sweetness to it, but it's not super forward, and even the spiciness that this fragrance has, it's not too much. It's not to a point where you would say that's more of a pushing fragrance rather than a pull me in type of fragrance. There's cardamom in this, there's some lavender and fir balsam giving that balsamic quality. There's also some moss in this, giving it kind of a dryness. I think that's what balances out the spices, in my opinion, that balsamic nature that this fragrance has, and makes it have a bit of an alluring, cozy quality. It's also just a really good scent for fall temperatures. So once again, from the house of Nashane, this is Papi Lafico. All right, next up from the house of Get Right Fragrances, this is Clean Team Cashmere, the purple label. Clean Team Cashmere, the purple label from Get Right Fragrances. So as the name implies, this is a cashmere fragrance. Also has some tropical fruitiness to it. That doesn't necessarily lend to a coziness, but there's a lot of warm vanilla in this as well. And once it dries down, some of that fruitiness balances out a bit, and that cashmere type fragrance element comes out, giving you this kind of a fizziness to it, and it makes you think of like wearing a cashmere sweater, which, you know, is some of the best fabric on the planet. Very soft and warm and cozy. I've done a full review on this fragrance if you want to check that out. I did that maybe a couple of months ago, I'm not sure. But I did talk about how the deep dry down in this fragrance I'm not a big fan of. I think it loses that warming quality and kind of just becomes kind of basic woody. But for most of the wearing time for this fragrance, it has that coziness to it, and it's not too sweet. It's pushing it just a little bit where it might be a little too sweet for me to consider it cozy, but it has that cashmere type element to it that just gives it an allure. So I think it's a good fall fragrance. I think it's a good cozy fragrance. Once again, from Get Right Fragrances, this is Clean Team Cashmere, the purple label. Next up, from Day 3 Fragrances, we've got La Tacita de Café. Day 3 Fragrances, La Tacita de Café. So this is a boozy coffee fragrance supported with a good amount of spices and chocolatey accords. Now all of that might make you think, oh, this fragrance is too gourmand or too sweet based on what I suggest is a good cozy fragrance. However, it's very well balanced in this fragrance to keep it in that cozy category for me. The fragrance is not very thick. It's kind of got an airiness to it, surprisingly. The coffee's not too strong, it's not too earthy. The sweet accords that are in here are very well balanced, and the spices are not that forward, so it all comes together to make a nice, cozy fall temperature fragrance. On top of that, I'm a fan of coffee with booze in it. I wish I could drink it more frequently. I can't really do it in the morning because I don't want booze weighing me down, and I can't really do it in the evening because I don't want the coffee keeping me awake. But I do love boozy coffee. I just wish I could drink it more often. But that's neither here nor there. Totally irrelevant to this conversation. Great fall cozy fragrance from Day 3 Fragrances, La Tacita de Café. Next up, coming from the house of BDK Parfums, we have got Gris Charnel Extrait. BDK's Gris Charnel Extrait. So this is a creamy, sweet, boozy, spicy, woody fragrance. All of those elements are here, but they are very well balanced. Fragrance smells absolutely delicious in the air, but it's not gourmand per se. But man, it just definitely has this very nice, alluring, warming quality, especially when it dries down. That bourbon vanilla that's in here is so nice, mixing nicely with tonka bean. Has some dry woods to kind of balance that out a bit. And it also has some powdery iris kind of lending to that creaminess that this fragrance has. Very nice, alluring fragrance. Definitely a good cozy fragrance and perfect for the fall temperatures. Once again, from the house of BDK Parfums, this is Gris Charnel Extrait. All right, and last but not least, from the house of YSL, we have got La Nuit de l'Homme Bleu Electrique. Yves Saint Laurent, La Nuit de l'Homme Bleu Electrique. So this is, of course, a spicy fragrance because La Nuit de l'Homme is famous for its cardamom notes. But this also has a little bit of lavender, has some ginger too, adding to that spice but giving it a freshness. And we also have got a nice amount of sweetness and some dry woods. The fragrance is very well balanced in my opinion. has a definite warming quality. I mean, the entire line is kind of known for being a great date night fragrance, so it still has that allure to it, as it should. But all that being said, this is a great fragrance for when you just want to have a cozy vibe. I actually like spraying this at the end of a long day when I want to just wind down because it has this cozy factor to it. And of course, all the elements that this fragrance has make it a great choice for the fall as well. So great cozy scent, great fall scent from the house of YSL, La Nuit de l'Homme Bleu Electrique. Alright guys, that's gonna do it for this video. That was 8 fragrances that I think are great for the fall and have a cozy element to them. Let me know down in the comments below, what's one fragrance you might like to wear when you want to have a cozy vibe to your fragrance wear. I appreciate you guys watching all the way until the end. Remember to be well and smell well, and I will see you in the next episode of The Fragrance Well. Have a good one.